What's up, folks? I'm Tyler. Welcome to the very first edition of Big T's Recipes. And today I'm making one of my all-time favorites, a classic Cajun red beans and rice. But hey, my twist is full of meat, it's full of flavor. You're gonna love it. Let's check this out. First things first, you have to have a great stock. Yes, you could use a boxed chicken stock if you want. If you're in a pinch, hey, I've used them, you use them. Not today. I'm gonna show you how to make a quick, delicious stock. It's gonna work for the red beans and rice. You're gonna have some left over and you're gonna love it. I have a frozen bag of vegetables. The stuff that you normally throw away, put it in a bag, save it. You're gonna use it later and it is going to come in handy and you're gonna thank me in the long haul. We've all picked up rotisserie chickens. Quick, easy meal, you can do a ton with them. Save the carcass. I do it, you should do it. This is the base for a great stock. Let's get after it. All right, so we're gonna make our stock first. What I'm doing is taking this leftover frozen rotisserie chicken. That's the bones, some pieces of chicken. That's gonna be a ton of flavor. Next comes those veggies I was telling you about. And look at that. We've got a ton of celery, some onions. Leave the skin on your onions whenever you, oh, look at there, there's a jalapeno that I had saved. Leave that skin on because that's gonna give a ton of color and a ton of flavor to your stock as well. Here comes a bunch of onions you can see. And we're just gonna drop most of that down in the stock pot. Man, you talk about some good, delicious chicken stock coming right up. Next step, pretty simple. Fill it up. Let the water get above the vegetables. We're gonna take this from the sink to the stove and bring it to a rolling boil. All right, so I've got my stock on a high heat. I wanna bring that to a boil. And you may ask, Tyler, what are some of the things you're talking about? You throw away your vegetables. The ends of an onion, bottoms or part of the top of a bell pepper. That bag that I showed you had red onion, yellow onions, green and red bell peppers, jalapenos, celery, green onions, anything and everything. I've had carrots in some. Don't waste your vegetables. Save them, use them for a stock. Hey, you could even use them for a vegetable stock if you want it. I've got this on high. This is gonna take probably 2 hours. The longer your stock goes, the better. At least 2 hours. I usually give them 2 to 4 hours. All right, folks, you can see we got this to a boil. The last thing I do before I cover it and turn the fire to low is I add some of this chicken base. This just gives a better chicken flavor. You're gonna love it, I love it. I'm just gonna do a couple tablespoons right down in there. Give it a good stir so it gets mixed and incorporated. I'm gonna grab my lid, put it on, and turn it to a low simmering heat. I'm gonna check it in about an hour. I'm gonna taste it, see if it's where I want it to be. I may need to add a little bit more. We're gonna let this go for 2 to 3 hours and our stock is gonna be perfect. We'll see you in a bit. I've got 4 pounds of meat here. What I've cut up is regular smoked sausage. I've just cut them in circles. Andouille sausage that I've cut in quarters, and tasso ham that I have just rough chopped throughout. I like doing different cuts of my meat Gives it a different texture, gives it a little look whenever you have the finished product. But man, it's all delicious. I'm gonna love it, and you're gonna love it. I've got my other pot here on about a medium heat. I'm gonna throw about a tablespoon of butter down, let that get melting. We're gonna brown off this meat, and then we're gonna pull it out and we're gonna cook our vegetables. So stay tuned. All right, so this sausage has been cooking for about 5 to 6 minutes. I'm gonna use a slotted spoon, scoop out this meat. We wanna leave some of that fat down there for our vegetables to cook. All right, we're getting the last bit of this meat out. And again, this is 4 pounds of sausage. Regular smoked, andouille, and some tasso, or tasso, however you want to pronounce it. Let me make sure I get it all out real quick. All right, so all the meat's out. It's good and browned. It left a good amount of fat down in there. I'm gonna add a little bit more butter, let that melt, and then I'm gonna come in with our vegetables. What I've got is 1 diced sweet yellow onion. I'm gonna put that in here in just a second. Once this butter is good and melted, man, you hear that sound? That is going to be heaven. I have 1 green and 1 red bell pepper. Don't leave any on the sidelines. You want them all to get in. And I have about 3 or 4 green onions and 2 jalapenos. I did not take the seeds and veins out of these jalapenos. Yes, if there's some that fell out, I threw them away. This gives me my heat that I like. If you need to add heat later, you can. You shouldn't need to though. This is going to be hot enough. So we put that in there. I'm gonna let this cook probably 10 minutes or so. I'm gonna add some minced garlic, and we'll be ready to add the red beans. All right, so we've cooked our stock now for a little over 2 hours. I've tasted it, it's where I want it to be. Our veggies are cooking. We wanna add a couple teaspoons of minced garlic. You can use fresh if you'd like. Didn't have any, use out of the jar. We're gonna let this cook for about a minute, get incorporated with all our other veggies, and then we're gonna add our beans and meat. Here I have 2 pounds of red kidney beans that I've soaked overnight. 4 to 8 hours is good, and I'm gonna go right into our pot. There we go. And remember that meat we cooked earlier? That's going right in as well. Oh, can't forget those guys. We're gonna give that a little stir. Now it's time for our stock. I don't measure this. I just take my stock and I want to fill it just to where the bean and meat mixture is covered. That way I know it's going to come to a boil. It's going to be perfect amount of liquid. If I need to add a little bit more here and there, I will. But generally speaking, if you cover all the meat and all the beans, it'll be perfect. And let's start getting some liquid in. Okay, so you see me using this strainer. And that's because of all these veggies and that meat from that chicken bone. And I just want to press it out and get all that goodness in there. And I'll use this strainer as well because we're not going to use all this stock in the red beans. I'll use this strainer for the leftover chicken stock as well, and we are close to coverage. As you can see, everything's covered. I've got this actually on a high heat now. We're gonna bring this to a slight boil, get our seasonings in, and we'll be ready to let the red beans cook. All right, so the pot of red beans is coming to a boil. At this point, I'm gonna add my seasoning. Got about a little over a tablespoon of some Cajun seasoning, some garlic powder, about a teaspoon of garlic powder, a teaspoon of browning sauce. That's just gonna add a ton of flavor. Get that in. And about a teaspoon of your favorite hot sauce. You can leave this out if you don't want it too hot. I think it adds a good flavor, not necessarily too much heat as far as more so than flavor. Give that a good stir. As you can see, this is ready to come to a boil. Once it starts boiling, we're gonna put our lid on, turn the heat to a simmer. We're gonna let it cook for 2 hours, checking it after an hour just to make sure our flavor's where it needs to be. If we need to add anything, we will. But this is usually pretty good. And we'll see you here in a bit. All right, folks, about 2.5 hours. It's finally up. I'm starving, but my red beans and rice is finally done. Take a look at that right there. Man, that's gonna be delicious. Now, I have to bring in my #1 taste tester, my wife, Megan. She's gonna come in and we are gonna have to sample.
We have to sample it.
So let's get a little bite.
I love red beans and rice. It's one of my favorite things that you cook.
It is one of my favorites.
All right, cheers.
Cheers. Man, that is delicious. A little bit of spice, creaminess from that bean, all these different textures and flavors. I gotta take another bite. I'm gonna have to do it.
The truth of the matter is, if I didn't have him, I would be very hungry.
That's a fact.
So thank you, Jesus, for my husband.
I hope you learned something new today. If you found something you like, be sure to hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on Big T's next recipe. Cheers.
We'll see y'all next time.
Is 1 diced yellow tomato. Worcestershire? How do you say it? Worcestershire?
Worcestershire.
Worcestershire? However you say it, doesn't matter. W sauce. And we'll see you here in a bit.
Do it one more time. Do it one more time.
Oop, I dropped the rice. Making a mess in the kitchen. So you gonna clean it up?
That's right. That's right. That's true.
Hey,
It's okay. Just go. It's okay.
I hope you enjoyed today's recipe. If you
You want me to do it?
no,
Let me just do it.
no, I got it.
Okay.
I hope you. I hope you learned something new today. If you found something that you liked or learned.
Y'all, we are so tired. It's 11:30. It's 11:30 on a Saturday night. We're exhausted. I'm just trying to take a shower.
I'm starving.
I know, we're starving too. It's okay. That was good, babe. My sweet baby. Woo! 1 down, 1 million more to go, huh?
Oh.